Hey guys, welcome back. Today's story is honestly something out of science fiction. Imagine waking up one day and finding out your entire country no longer exists. Not because of war, not because of an invasion, but because nature itself has erased it. That's the fate staring at one of the tiniest countries in the world, Tuvalu. Now, you've probably never heard of Tuvalu unless you're a hardcore geography nerd. It's a small island nation in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Just about 11,000 people live there, which, let's be honest, is smaller than some housing societies in Mumbai or Delhi. But here's the scary part. Tuvalu might become the first country in modern history to disappear completely from the Earth's map. Yes, completely. No flag, no land, no physical homeland, just memories and a digital copy floating in the cloud. And that's not me being dramatic. That's literally what the government of Tuvalu is preparing for. They've already started 3D scanning the entire country. Every house, every coconut tree, even every stone. The idea is simple. If Tuvalu disappears under the sea, at least its digital version will survive forever. Sounds futuristic, right? Almost like an episode of Black Mirror. But for the people of Tuvalu, this isn't entertainment. This is survival. So where is Tuvalu exactly? Picture the vast blue stretch of the Pacific Ocean. In the middle of nowhere, between Hawaii and Australia, sits this tiny collection of 9 islands. Out of these, 6 are what we call atolls. Now, quick geography lesson. What's an atoll? It's basically the graveyard of an old volcano. A volcano forms in the middle of the ocean, erupts, and then, over millions of years, it sinks back into the sea. What's left is a ring of coral reefs that rise to the surface, trapping shallow water inside. Add some soil, plants, and coconut trees, and you've got yourself an atoll island. Famous example? The Maldives. It's literally a country made entirely of atolls. And yes, Tuvalu is like that, just even smaller. Now, the problem with atolls is that they're extremely flat. They don't rise much above sea level. In Tuvalu's case, the average height is only 2 meters. That's it, 2 meters. For perspective, that's shorter than the height of a cricket site screen. The highest point in the entire country? A grand total of 4.6 meters. So you can already guess the problem. Even a slightly bigger wave, a stronger storm, or a rise in sea level and poof, large chunks of Tuvalu go underwater. And climate change is making this happen at frightening speed. Sea levels are rising everywhere because of melting glaciers in Greenland and Antarctica. But in Tuvalu, they're rising faster than the global average. NASA's data says that between 1993 and 2023, Tuvalu's sea level went up by 15 centimeters. That's 1.5 times the global average. And the projections are terrifying. By 2050, sea levels around Tuvalu are expected to rise another 20 to 30 centimeters. By 2100, it could be 1 full meter. Now, 1 meter may not sound like much when you imagine it on land, but remember, Tuvalu's highest point is just 4.6 meters. So if the sea rises by a meter, almost 95% of the country will be submerged. Right now, Tuvalu experiences flooding on about 5 days a year. By 2050, that could become 25 days every year. By 2100, 100 days a year. Basically 1/3 of the year spent underwater. And here's where we need to pause. Because I know what some people think when they hear years like 2100. They go, "Yar, that's a long way off. Why should I care? I won't even be alive." But no. The real danger is 2050. Just 25 years away. Most of us watching this right now will still be alive. And Tuvalu will already be half underwater. This isn't a future problem. This is a present-day crisis. Now you might ask, if sea levels are rising, why don't Tuvaluans just move to higher ground within their country? After all, that's what cities like Mumbai or Dhaka would do, right? Shift people inland. But here's the problem. Tuvalu has no inland. The country is so flat that there's literally nowhere higher to go. The entire place is a thin strip of land, sometimes so narrow that the airport runway takes up half the width of the island. So their options are limited. Option 1, artificial islands. Build new land like Dubai did with its Palm Islands. In fact, Tuvalu has already started. By 2024, they had built about 19 acres of flood-free artificial land. But remember, Tuvalu doesn't have Dubai's oil money. It's a poor nation that survives largely on foreign aid. Expanding this artificial land to save the entire population is a massive financial challenge. Option 2. Protective walls. Build seawalls and barriers. Tuvalu has built around 1,400 meters of berm-top barriers and 200 meters of concrete reinforcements. But again, this is expensive, temporary, and no match for nature in the long run. Option 3. Migration. And this is where it gets heartbreaking. In 2022, Tuvalu signed the Philippine Union Treaty with Australia. This treaty has a historic provision, the world's first climate visa. Here's how it works. Every year, Australia will allow 280 Tuvaluans to migrate permanently. They'll get residency, healthcare, education, housing, everything an Australian citizen gets, except voting rights. Now, on paper, that sounds generous. But let's do the math. Tuvalu has around 11,000 people. At 280 per year, it will take less than 40 years to move everyone, which means by 2060, Tuvalu could be empty. Imagine that. An entire country evacuated. And it's not just about people. What happens to Tuvalu as a nation? International law says that to be a country, you need defined territory and a permanent population. If the territory sinks and the people are scattered, does Tuvalu still exist? The government has an answer, yes. But digitally, Tuvalu has officially amended its constitution to declare itself a digital nation. They're creating a complete 3D copy of their islands. Every house, every tree, every beach is being scanned and recreated in virtual reality. The plan is that even if the physical land is lost, Tuvalu will exist online. People will have digital passports, elections will be held virtually, and their cultural heritage, from songs and dances to stories, will be preserved forever. It's honestly mind-blowing. A nation moving into the metaverse to survive climate change. And guess what? 25 countries, including Australia and New Zealand, have already recognized Tuvalu's digital state. But let's not forget the larger context here. Tuvalu isn't disappearing because of anything it did. Its carbon footprint is almost zero. The real culprits are the big emitters. The USA, China, India, the EU. The G20 nations alone account for 80% of global emissions. And yet, the countries paying the price are tiny island nations like Tuvalu, Kiribati, Nauru, and the Marshall Islands, countries that barely contributed to the crisis. That's why Tuvalu's prime minister put it bluntly. When big countries keep expanding fossil fuels, it's basically a death sentence for them. So here's the big question. If Tuvalu disappears, what does that mean for the rest of us? Because remember, it's not just about 11,000 people. Rising seas threaten 800 million people worldwide. Cities like Mumbai, Kolkata, and Dhaka are in danger. By 2100, the global cost of sea level rise could hit $1 trillion. Tuvalu is just the warning bell. A small island shouting at the top of its lungs, "We are sinking, but so is everyone else." And honestly, they're right.